quilty friends, it's Carolina Moore, your favorite sewing and quilting YouTuber, and we are doing day 1 of the Mini Quilt Advent. If you haven't opened up today's Advent yet, go ahead and do that now so I don't spoil anything for you. And while you're doing that, those of you who don't have a Mini Quilt Advent yet, go down to the description of this video, click the link, and there will be order information if there's any Advents left. I usually over order, so as of day 1, there should still be Advents available for you to get one, but that supply does get less and less as we get through the season. So if you want one, make sure you get that ordered. Okay, we are going to grab today's template and work on today's pattern. You ready? Let's get started. Okay, so I have the fat quarter bundle of the fabrics that we're using for this year's Mini Quilt Advent. These are the 2024 Art Gallery Fabrics, Christmas fabrics. I selected 8 from the line, and you can choose the same fabrics, different fabrics. Even if you choose the same fabrics, you can make your quilt the same, different, whatever you want. We do want to set one aside for our sashing fabric. And I like picking one that really has a lot of contrast. So let's go ahead and look at these fabrics really quick. So if you haven't done this already, this one I think is going to be my sashing fabric because it's the one that really has the most contrast from the rest of the quilt. So it's going to help the blocks really pop. So I'm going to set this one aside and not use it in the blocks. If I were to use it in the blocks, then my blocks would get kind of like muddy looking, or the blocks would kind of like bleed into the sashing. Okay, so this is the shape. This is a half rectangle triangle because we're doing all rectangle shapes this year. So they are 6-inch finished rectangles, or 4x6 inch finished rectangles. All of our acrylic templates are based on that, and so we've got some half rectangle triangles to be able to fit in those rectangles. So go ahead and peel off the masking that comes on your template. You are the very first person to get to use these templates, so you get to peel off the masking on them. And now we're going to pick out our fabrics. I love these 2, I think, for this. Yep, I'm just going to go with the top 2. Keep it really simple for this first little block. And on the pattern, it shows a pink and a blue. Now the pink is right side up like this, and the blue ones are upside down like that. So because I picked 2 fabrics that are directional, and you'll see that here, I've got cars on this one and cars on this one. If we don't want our cars driving upside down, which is a choice, and you can absolutely go with it, but if you don't want your cars driving upside down, then you want your you want to think about the way that you're placing your advents. So I'm gonna have this one be my pink and this one be my blue, and so that way these ones are gonna get turned upside down when I do these. And what I love about this advent is that the blocks are so simple. So it gives me a chance to do some really fun fussy cutting on the fabric. Like, okay, that little chalet right there looks like it was designed to be part of this block. Now these lines that are a 1/4 inch in, that lets you know where the seam allowance is. So anything inside the etched line is going to show up in the block. Anything outside the etched line is going to be in your seam allowance and isn't going to show up in your finished quilt. So we need to cut 2 pieces. I'm going to do this one. And this is one of the downsides of fussy cutting, is that you do end up with absolute Swiss cheese for fabric. But you get such good fun things out of the fabric that I don't mind having Swiss cheese fabric. And then I really like these 2 little cars right here. Since the other one is going to have a lot of trees and cars as well, I feel like that'll go really well. All right, I'm going to go right there and cut. There we are. So those are my 2 with the template right side up, and for the other 2 I need to flip my template upside down. So I'm going to set this fabric aside. grab this one, and remembering to have my template upside down. Now this tree it's just so much like this one. I don't know if I want to do that one. How many can I fit? I'm trying to see if I can fit multiple cars. Alright, this car is a little bit in there, but it's in the seam allowance, and I've got 2 other cars, so I'm going to do that. And I didn't quite cut this enough, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that little end right there. So there's 1. And now I need to cut another one. This is the same as that one. I don't want the same. I could do something like this, which would have no cars at all. I don't love that though. Alright, I'm going to do this, which is these 2 cars. Wait, this one is the same as that one already in there. I'm trying for different. Is it? Okay. These 2 will be different. Make some serious Swiss cheese cutting a hole right in the middle, but that's okay. And cutting is honestly one of the most time-consuming parts of these blocks because they come together so quickly. You get to really play with the fabric and pick with the fabric in a way that you don't with a lot of bigger quilts, because these are just little snack size blocks. Okay, I have my 4 pieces cut out, and so now I'm going to put the half rectangle triangles right sides together to sew them. But there is a technique for doing this, so let's go ahead and look at that technique, which is when you go right sides together, you aren't lining up this point right here and this point down here. That's not going to work. What you actually want to do, and I'm going to use my template here, is you're going to bring the point up. There we go. Right there. So that where the 2 pieces of fabric cross, the fabric on the bottom and the fabric on the top, is right at the 1/4 inch. So 1/4 inch in from the edge. And it should be the same down here if you flipped it over and looked. And that is what's going to give you a beautiful rectangle that comes together nicely. If you line up the actual points of the fabric, it's not going to work. This isn't a traditional half square triangle, this is a half rectangle triangle, and so they need to be pieced just a little bit differently. And when you piece them this way, it's magical. For those of you who followed along last year when we did the 2023 Advent calendar and it was diamonds, there are some special ways to put together diamonds. There are some special ways to put together half rectangle triangles. But once you know how they come together, it's so cool, it's magical, and you never knew it was going to be that easy. And then the people who are frustrated, you say, oh gosh, let me show you the secret, because there is absolutely a secret. Okay, we're going to bring this over to the sewing machine, and I'm using a 1/4 inch foot, and I'm just going to sew 1/4 inch seam allowance. And now if you don't want to get your template out to do the whole measuring, you can actually do it right here on your sewing machine. Take the 2 pieces, right sides together, line up the edge, and then I've got this 1/4 inch line here. So I'm lining up the fabric with the edge of my foot, and the line should line up right where those 2 fabrics cross. Then you can also bring it right up to the needle. That should come right where those fabrics cross. And if you're a touch off, it'll be okay. But you want to try to be as accurate as possible, because that's going to get you a more accurate result in the end. Okay, so I'm going to cut off the end, cut off my thread tail, and cut between the 2 pieces. And now we can open these and press. We're going to press towards the dark, and these fabrics don't really have a dark. I suppose the green is probably the dark. So we'll go ahead and press towards the dark. Look how my points just lined up really nicely there. And press the other one. And now we have on the top and bottom corners, these are called dog ears. They're just a little ear. And you can use a rotary cutter and a ruler to trim these off, or you can just use scissors and you can just clip off these dog ears. Clipping off the dog ears has less bulk in the finished quilt, so you don't have all this extra fabric in your seam allowance where it's not necessary. And less bulk makes it nicer to quilt when it's finished and easier to sew together accurately as well. So we want to go ahead and take out that bulk. Okay, now big decision time. Do I want this house on the left with the cars coming towards it, or do I want the house on the right with the cars going away from it? Kind of like the interest of this, but I do like the cars coming towards the house. All right, I'm gonna do it this way. So then right sides together, and sew this just with your regular 1/4 inch seam allowance, lining up the edges. And now this just needs a quick press. And you just press towards one side. It doesn't really matter which side. Just pick a side and press towards that side. If there is a true dark and light, go ahead and press towards the dark. And then I have some threads here that I just want to clip away so they don't stick out when I've got everything quilting. Look at that. Ah! So that's it, friends. We have the first of our rectangles all done, ready to go. Day one is pieced. It was 3 seams. I mean, how easy was this? I'm going to go ahead and put it on the board behind me. For me, this helps me keep them organized for when we go put them all together at the end. If you don't have a space like this, go ahead and tuck them in the bag that your pieces came in, and that way you have them all together. Put them wherever you want. Hang them up as a little advent with clips, whatever you like to enjoy them as we work on this project. So day one is done. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I will be looking for your comments and making sure to get you any answers. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Friends, I would love to have you subscribe. That's it for today, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow when we work on day 2. Bye for now.